Like and subscribe for more.
Have you ever looked at someone and felt an instant, unexplainable chill down your spine? That was exactly what happened the Tuesday morning Chloe walked into my homeroom. I'm not the type of person who gets easily pressed, but the second our eyes met, I felt this weird pit in my stomach. She didn't look dangerous. In fact, she looked completely ordinary. She had long brown hair, an oversized gray hoodie, and she kept her eyes glued to the floor. But when the teacher told her to sit in the empty desk right next to mine, she gave me this look. It wasn't a mean look, and it wasn't a friendly one either. It was a look of pure, intense recognition, like she already knew exactly who I was. At first, I tried to brush it off. I told myself I was just being paranoid, which is honestly typical for me, but by Friday, things started getting weird. It started with the Stanley Cup. I have a custom pastel pink one with a very specific checkered sticker on the side. On Thursday, Chloe showed up with the exact same cup and the exact same sticker in the exact same spot. I joked about it to my best friend, Maya, saying imitation is the highest form of flattery, but Maya didn't laugh. She just pointed down at Chloe's shoes. Chloe was wearing a pair of limited edition vintage sneakers that my parents had literally just bought me for my birthday the week before. I hadn't even worn them to school yet. Okay. Now I was officially creeped out. How could she have known about the shoes? That night, I decided to do some digging. I searched up her name on TikTok and Instagram, but her accounts were completely private. No profile pictures, 0 followers, and she followed exactly one person, me. My heart did a literal backflip. I clicked on her page again, trying to see if we had mutual friends, but there was nothing. It was a ghost account. I screenshotted it and sent it to Maya, typing in all caps. Maya replied immediately, telling me to block her, but something inside me couldn't do it. I wanted to know why this random new girl was so obsessed with my life. Over the next 2 weeks, the copying went from weird coincidence to straight up psychological horror. On Monday, I showed up to school with my hair dyed a subtle honey blonde. On Wednesday, Chloe walked into class with the exact same shade. It wasn't even a close match. It was identical. Then, she started changing the way she talked. I have this habit of using specific slang and hand gestures when I'm nervous. Suddenly, Chloe was doing the exact same things in class presentations. People in our grade started noticing. During lunch, someone actually asked us if we were sisters. Chloe laughed this tiny, high-pitched laugh, looked right at me and said, "Not yet." If copying my style wasn't enough, Chloe started invading my social life. There was a guy I had been crushing on for literally 6 months. His name is Ethan. Only Maya knew about it, or so I thought. One afternoon, I saw Chloe standing by Ethan's locker. She was laughing, twisting her hair, using the exact same flirting techniques I always talked about. But the worst part? She was telling him a story. It was the exact story of how I broke my arm when I was 8 years old, but she was telling it as if it happened to her. I stood there, completely frozen in the hallway, watching her literally steal my childhood memories right in front of my face. I couldn't take it anymore. The anger just boiled up inside me until I couldn't breathe. As soon as Ethan walked away, I marched right up to her and slammed my hand against the locker next to her head. I demanded to know what her problem was. I asked her why she was stealing my clothes, my hair, and now my actual life. Chloe didn't even flinch. She just stood there, looking at me with these cold, watery eyes. For a second, I thought she was going to cry, but then her expression shifted into something completely blank. She whispered, "You have everything, and you don't even care." Before I could ask her what that meant, the bell rang and she slipped past me into the crowd. That weekend was supposed to be a break from the drama, but it ended up making everything 10 times worse. It was my dad's birthday, and we went out to a nice dinner. My dad seemed totally distracted the entire night, constantly checking his phone and looking nervously toward the restaurant door. When I asked him if he was okay, he just forced a smile and said he was stressed with work. But I knew his work look, and this wasn't it. He looked guilty. On Sunday night, I went to use his laptop to print an essay, and a notification popped up on the screen. It was an email from an unknown address, and the subject line read, "She knows." The email was empty, except for an address to a neighborhood on the completely opposite side of town, a sketchy, rundown area that my dad would never have any reason to visit. My mind started racing. Was my dad being blackmailed? Was it connected to Chloe? The pieces didn't fit, but the anxiety was eating me alive. The next day at school, Chloe wasn't there. Her seat was completely empty. I asked the teacher if she was sick, but the teacher just said Chloe's family had requested her school records. They were moving again. If I didn't get answers right now, I never would. I decided right then and there to skip my last period. I took a bus to the address from the email. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. When the bus dropped me off, I found myself standing in front of a small, faded blue house with an overgrown front yard. It looked completely abandoned, except for a single light burning in the upstairs window. I walked up the cracked concrete steps, my heart pounding so loudly I was sure the neighbors could hear it. I knocked on the door. No one answered. I reached for the doorknob, expecting it to be locked, but to my absolute shock, it clicked and swung wide open into the dark hallway. The inside of the house smelled like old paper and dust. It was mostly empty, with cardboard boxes stacked against the walls as if someone was preparing to leave in a hurry. "Hello?" I called out, my voice trembling. No response. I followed the hallway toward the back of the house, my sneakers squeaking against the hardwood floor. Every instinct in my body told me to turn around and run, but the overwhelming need to know the truth kept my feet moving forward. That's when I noticed a door at the end of the hall, slightly cracked open, with a faint glow coming from inside. I pushed the door open, stepping into what was clearly a teenage girl's bedroom. But as my eyes adjusted to the light, my breath caught in my throat. I felt a wave of pure, unadulterated terror wash over me. The walls weren't covered in posters of bands or movies. They were covered in photos. Photos of me. There were printouts from my Instagram, pictures of me walking to school, photos of me laughing with Maya at the park. It was a literal shrine dedicated entirely to my life. It looked like the bedroom of a Hollywood stalker, and I was the target. I stumbled backward, my hand hitting a small wooden nightstand. A small framed photograph rattled and fell face down onto the carpet. Trembling, I knelt down and picked it up, flipping it over. I expected to see another creepy, zoomed-in picture of myself taken from a distance, but it wasn't. It was an old, slightly faded photo of a toddler sitting on a man's shoulders at a beach. The toddler was Chloe, but the man holding her up, smiling warmly into the camera, wasn't a stranger. It was my dad. "I told you," a voice whispered from the doorway. I screamed, dropping the frame as it shattered on the floor. Chloe was standing there, blocking the exit. She wasn't wearing her usual oversized clothes anymore. She was wearing the exact same outfit I had on right now, down to the jewelry. Her eyes were red and puffy from crying. "I told you that you have everything," she choked out, her voice cracking with pure emotion. "You got the nice house. You got the perfect school. You got the dad who actually stays for your birthdays." My mind went completely blank as the puzzle pieces violently crashed together. Chloe wasn't a stalker who wanted to hurt me. She was my half-sister. My dad had a secret family before he met my mom, a life he completely abandoned and hid from everyone. Chloe had spent her entire life watching from the shadows, seeing me get the love, the stability, and the father she was denied. She didn't copy me because she hated me. She copied me because she thought that if she could just figure out how to be exactly like me, maybe our dad would finally love her too. I sat on the floor of that dusty room, looking at the girl who shared my DNA but felt like a total stranger. We didn't yell, we didn't fight. We just sat there in the quiet ruins of a massive family secret. That night, I confronted my dad. The look of pure shame on his face told me everything I needed to know. Things at home are completely broken right now, and I don't know if my family will ever recover. Chloe and her mom moved away the next morning, and I haven't seen her since. But every time I look in the mirror now, I don't just see myself anymore. I see the sister I never knew existed.
Like and subscribe for more.